Kia ora New Zealand, I'm Philip Duncan with a special long-range forecast right through until Good Friday next week. Let's kick off with the wind maps, and today we've thrown in the air pressure because there are two significant features. We'll start with the first one. It is this area of low pressure which is forming just off the east coast of the North Island for Friday. That's why it's a little bit windier and showery along that eastern side and wet weather for the Chatham Islands. But that area of low pressure, which you can see here in purple, is small compared to the size of the high pressure which is rolling in from Australia. This is it mostly around Aussie and Tasmania, and it's going to affect our weather right through until Easter. So let's kick off with Saturday's weather. And as you can see, that cold southerly is blowing in across the North Island. Wet weather all along that eastern coastline from Wellington to Gisborne across the day. It might fade a bit later on around the Wellington area, but the winds are a bit blustery, and that low is parked right over the Chatham Islands, so they've got a day of wind and rain. Once we get into Sunday, those winds are moving back into the South Island. And in fact, I forgot to mention on Saturday morning, there may well be a frost overnight tonight into Saturday for some parts of the inland South Island. But on Sunday morning, while you still maybe will be getting down towards frost territory, there's another little southerly coming through on Sunday morning, which you can just see there. That will push in some cloud, bit of wind and some showers as it moves up the coastline. The North Island perhaps a little bit calmer and colder first thing on Sunday, which then takes us to next week. So Monday, that southerly moves into the North Island's eastern side, and it's very much coastal. You go inland a little bit, it's mainly dry. High pressure, enormous high pressure, which is building down here in the South Island. So Monday's the transition day between that departing low and the incoming high. So once we get to Tuesday, it's pretty much settled across the South Island, which means once again we could be getting back to some morning frosts. Certainly the overnight lows are going to be well down next week. And in the North Island, it's still a bit windy with coastal showers around the eastern side of the North Island, but it's mainly dry almost everywhere else. And we get to Wednesday, that's when we finally see those showers fading away from the eastern side of the North Island. So Hawke's Bay, Mahia Peninsula, Gisborne, you may still have a day of showers off and on, but they're pretty light, far between. But the clouds will still be around and the breeze is still coming off the sea. So it's not going to be overly warm, but the high is really moving in over the South Island. Look at that, perfectly centered over the south. This is why we're calling it an Easter egg high, because it's, sort of shaped like an Easter egg at the right time of the year. So once we get to Thursday, just as everyone's about to head off for the long weekend, those showers are pretty much clearing off the North Island. They're just lingering around Mahia Peninsula and curving around a wee bit just to the north of the Bay of Islands. It's not much, it's just a couple of showers, mostly dry, and certainly dry over the South Island with high pressure, which means you got kind of cold nights, but fairly mild days. And speaking of the temperatures, here's Good Friday, and things actually start to warm up a bit on Good Friday in the South Island. You've got a bit of a northerly coming down there, so a north to northwesterly wind will lift temperatures up, brings in a little bit of rain to Fiordland though, so if you're heading over there tramping for the long weekend, could be some rain coming through. A few showers in the north, and remember this is just Good Friday. Some of the long-range models show the weekend either being dominated by this high or maybe getting a little bit of rain that sort of gets mixed up into it. So either way, watch this space. We'll bring you a much more detailed update early next week about how Easter is shaping up. But at this stage, next week is mostly dry. The build up to Easter is mostly dry, and Good Friday is looking mainly dry across New Zealand. But we will fine tune that for you on Monday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you then.